and welcome to this week's Whole Wheat Costa. For Kev, I'm Jay. Today on our show, we're going to be talking about episodes Hunt for Ziro and Heroes on Both Sides. Kev, you want to start us off with Hunt for Ziro?
Yeah, Cad Bane has broken Ziro the Hutt out of prison, and the Hutt Council demands that Ziro tell them where he's hidden vital and incriminating information, a journal detailing the criminal activities of the 5 Hutt families. Ziro makes another daring escape with the help of his estranged and strange lover, Snootles. Bane is back on the Hutt's trail, but he's not the only one. The Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi and Quinlan Voss need to find him too. A chase through the swamps of Now Hutta leads the pursuers to Ziro's enormous mother, Mina the Hutt, who points them to the direction of Teth. It is there in the secret grave of Ziro's father that the fugitive Hutt has hidden the diary. When he retrieves it, Snooty reveals her true spots. She's a deadly woman scorned and a bounty hunter for hire. She kills Ziro and returns the journal to her client, Jabba the Hutt.
Okay, so that description took up our half an hour, so please listen next week.
Yeah, they really changed the whole style this season of these descriptions.
Yeah. So I don't mind as much that the episodes were out of order, as much as I mind that Ziro the Hutt is like a terrible character.
The important thing is that he's dead now, so thank God.
Spoilers. Yeah, but yeah, I'm hoping we don't have to deal with him again. Like, they're like, oh, we resurrected him with ancient Hutt-y spells or something, because it's like he's the most annoying Hutt that we've seen.
He easily is. I don't know. I don't quite know. I didn't think about this enough to describe it, but I feel like his portrayal in like Mama the Hutt, I mean, she might be the worst character. I don't know. There's some uncomfortableness about their character too. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's some like there's supposed to be some weird stereotype of something. Like, again, I didn't really think about it enough to like carefully put this into words, but their portrayal made me uncomfortable on some level. Like, if I don't know if you felt that at all.
Yeah, I believe Mama the Hutt definitely needs some like bariatric surgery. Like, that was disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, Ziro could come back. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't think he actually does, but apparently one of the continuity things. So I honestly feel like, so if you look at the Wikipedia, there's more about the continuity of this episode than the actual plot of the episode. And one of the continuity episodes was that Nardula or Gardula the Elder apparently dies previously in a Star Wars video game, which is set prior to the Clone Wars, and then comes back, and there's a line, Gardula's crate dragon found her indigestible. So there's apparently this whole continuity thing on just even some of the characters in the episode, whether they should be alive or not. Apparently there's a lot of crossover between this episode and some of the comics as well. Apparently Voss was sort of like an extended universe character that was brought in, that apparently there was a lot of development on him too. And people were pretty excited for him. And he was, I don't know, when he first came out, I was like, another one of these annoying characters. But he actually was pretty good. I feel like
he knew his shit. He wasn't as good with the lightsaber as Obi-Wan, or as patient as Obi-Wan, but like that wasn't his thing. It was tracking was his thing. So he's, Obi-Wan's like a good monk, and he's not a good monk.
Yeah, I feel like Voss is like Anakin when he grows up. Like, if Anakin continued to be a Jedi and just became like more and more of a jerk and like kind of weird. But
yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, oh, this guy's like so far he's a Jedi that like just doesn't care, but he didn't, become a galactic emperor.
Yeah, I feel like it was interesting though, because I feel like, our first perspective is Obi-Wan's perspective, and he's like, this friggin' guy. So I feel like, I mean, we know and trust Obi-Wan, so I just assumed he was going to be annoying. And like I said, he kind of was for a little bit, but then you see that he's still a Jedi Master, and there's still a level of respect there. And then Obi-Wan even makes a little joke at the end, like when they're hanging off that rock, like, I always hate hanging out with you. And then Voss like laughs, and It's like kind of funny.
Actually, Quinlan Vos is a Jedi Knight. He is not a Jedi Master.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
It says I guess he is a master. There, he's a knight. He is a master, I guess.
Okay. Apparently, he only appears like in one other episode later. The continuity says the original script actually had him appear way back in season 1 in Bombad Jedi as the explanation for why Jar Jar could do all those things. Like he was like pulling the strings behind the scenes, but then they decided to scrap that storyline.
And Quinlan Vos is also in the Phantom Menace.
True, yeah, and then he apparently appears in like one other episode down the line, just as a background character. So that's kind of weird, because it sounds like they put a lot of work into his character, and then it was a one-off, basically. And then the one thing I was thinking in the beginning, I think we brought it up before, is like, why do Hutts like humanoid dancers? I was looking up. I found an interesting thing on Reddit, which is basically just like that. So much of the other main actors in the galaxy are sort of humanoid that it's just like a power thing for them to have like humanoid slaves, basically, and especially to be so powerful that they can basically pay slaves to do nothing, to be like dancers and just for the sake of like degrading them, essentially. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then I don't know if you noticed too, the humanoid dancers in the beginning of this had like Hutt masks on top of their head, which I thought was interesting.
Oh no, I didn't notice that at all. But talking about these dancers and singers, how weird was Snootles?
Snootles. Yeah, man, she's a weird character. Made sense with weird Ziro the Hutt. It was a pretty great turn at the end when she kills him. I mean, so now she's obviously one of my favorite characters because she got rid of Ziro. And then, did you notice at the very end too? They played. I don't know exactly what it was like. The end of one of the movie themes. It was like the original trilogy, like end credit going into the end credits, like victory sort of theme. They played at the end when Snootles was like went to Jabba that she killed Ziro.
Oh no, I didn't notice that at all. So
I thought it was an interesting choice. Like, oh, this is such a triumphant moment that like she killed Ziro, and that's how we end the episode. It was like she was like a main hero character.
You know what's funny about her character is like she's a reptile humanoid type character, but like I've seen people in different areas like with that same type of body, really skinny legs, skinny arms, and then like a giant apple for a body.
Yeah. So
like I've seen it up by where I work, and you're like that's crazy. How do you get like that? That's crazy.
I think from just being genetically predisposed to store like abdominal body fat and then never exercising.
Yeah,
I think very much legit.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have for this episode. Friggin' Snootles and Ziro, and it was a little weird. Once again,
Cad Bane.
Oh, I read about Cad Bane. You're right. Cad Bane was this is the most I liked him in an episode because I just thought he was kind of funny now. Like when he went to the Hutts and was like, yeah, I mean I don't want to do this again either, but like if you want it done, like you're gonna have to pay me again. Like I'm sick of this. And then
he said I'm getting sick of getting paid for the same job. Yeah. I'll get paid for it again. You're like,
and then I don't know. I was kind of disappointed in Obi-Wan when Cad Bane shows up and Zero's dead. I mean, he could have just left, but then I don't know. I felt like he felt like, oh, this is kind of funny. Let me stick around. And then
he could have been out there stress free.
Yeah, he could have been, but I feel like he felt like Obi-Wan was like an honorable guy, so he was just gonna be like, look, I didn't shoot him. I feel like he felt like he had to tell him that. Like, hey, I didn't shoot him. Like, this is kind of weird. Like, let's just go our ways, which is basically what he said. And I kind of wanted Obi-Wan to just leave him alone. Like, I mean, that wasn't the time. I don't think. Like, you didn't need to fight him right there.
Yeah, but then Cad Bane like takes on 2 Jedi, and like they kind of like played it off like Quinlan Voss like lost his lightsaber and didn't really do very much, but it's just like that could have all been avoided if Cad Bane's like, well, he's dead. Someone did my job for me. Gonna go collect my credits, and just flew off.
Yeah, see, I feel like Cad Bane was the more honorable one here. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like he freely exposed himself. I feel like he should have been given a pass here. Like I get like he needs to be arrested, but I don't know. I didn't think it was right that they tried to arrest him.
Well, I guess it's just because he has a warrant out for his arrest. They're like, we're bringing you in.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was like Obi-Wan bad cop sort of thing. I don't know.
All right. Well, that's all I got. If you want to move on, like you did before.
Yeah, let me hang on. Let me read this 35-page description. Heroes on both sides. When the Senate begins debating a bill that would eliminate government oversight of the banking clan's activities in order to fund the war, Padmé and Ahsoka travel in secret to the capital of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Amidala attempts to forge a peace agreement with the Separatists, while Ahsoka sees, for the first time, the people of the Confederacy. Padmé's friend, Mina Bonteri, spearheads the peace initiative and convinces the Separatist Congress to sue for peace. Meanwhile, in Coruscant, Senators Lot Dodd and Gumi Sam conspire with banking clan representative Nix Card and Count Dooku to make the banking deregulation a reality. At Dooku's command, General Grievous engineers an attack at the central power distribution grid on Coruscant, carried out by separatist demolition droids. The chaos and panic spreads to the Senate, which vehemently rejects the separatist peace initiative and votes instead to deregulate the banking clan.
So can I talk about a little history about deregulation?
Yes.
I think it's called I'm just remembering this from school, but I think it's called
the Great Depression.
The Frank Dodd Act, which regulated the banks, so you couldn't have your savings and checking account banks mixing with your home loans and shit like that, mixing with investment banks. So you had to be 2 separate entities so that the Great Depression didn't ever happen again. And then Bill Clinton deregulated the banks, and then 2008, 2007, 2009, they were like, how did we get here? Why are we going through a depression? And it's just like, well, Clinton deregulated the banks, so now both types of banking are intertwined. So when the investment goes down, you crash banks left and right. That's what happened before, and they're like, well, we don't understand.
Yeah, I feel like, and I don't understand it perfectly, but I mean, my sense is that regulations are there to protect us from the banks. Like, I mean, the banks also want to control as much money and make money. So, if they're allowed to do what's best for them, that's not necessarily what's best for the whole rest of the country. So, that's why we need regulations. Like, same with businesses. Like,
so,
sorry, go ahead.
I can explain it to you in 10 seconds. So the banks were regulated because, so you know how like if you take out a loan, they use other people's money to fund your loan, then you pay it back, and then keep moving money around to
isn't this something like they were basically lending out more money than actually existed?
No, so they lend out money, you pay it back, and then it's all like it's a legal pyramid scheme. But anyway, then the other part of banking is investments and like IRAs and everything. So if you deregulate them, they can't take money from your account for the bank to invest to make money. They can only take money from your investment accounts to invest with the bank to make money. So basically, regulation separates those things. So like if the stock market crashes, you keep all your money because they're not investing your money without your say-so into their accounts. But with deregulation, they take your money and they invest it. So if the stock market crashes, the bank also crashes, which destroys your accounts. So from like 1935 to like 1998 or 1997, the banks were regulated. That's why we didn't have any depressions. But then once the stock market crashed in like 2008, because of the deregulation, millions of people lost millions of dollars, billions of dollars, because the bank could do whatever they want with your money because they weren't two separate entities.
I think it's weird that it feels like it should be a liberal or conservative thing. Like, theoretically, conservative should be, I mean, at least in U.S. politics, conservative should be for smaller government, so probably for less regulations. But like you had mentioned that Bill Clinton did a lot of this stuff. I mean, Donald Trump also, when he was in office. I don't know to that extent, but I know did deregulate things a bit.
He didn't actually? Donald Trump didn't deregulate a lot of the banks.
Yeah, it wasn't
what was happening. Yeah. What was happening was the stuff that Bill Clinton, 20 years ago or 25 years ago, were putting in place. Those deregulations were expiring, and he just re-signed a lot of that shit back in the law.
Okay, that makes sense. I knew there was something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, they couldn't be more different politically otherwise, but they're both from old money, and money matters more than politics,
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I had to go on that because that's all I could think about when they're talking about deregulating the banks and all that other stuff. And I'm like, no, don't do it because you don't want them intertwined. And then you get towards the middle of the episode where like the banking clan and the techno union and everything, they're like, well, we want to make billions. And if we don't deregulize, we can't make billions.
Yeah, I was the bank clan and the Trade Federation was there. But yeah, I don't know. My notes for the episode, the beginning of the episode was like, thank God, new line of credit, bank deregulation. We're back to classic prequel Star Wars now. And then friggin' weak liberal Amidala wants to negotiate.
Yeah, I mean, I really love this episode because it does talk about stuff that's going on in our universe, but at the same time, like, they relate it to the Star Wars universe where like Amidala has to go get back channels to go separatists. And it does show the other half of the separatists. Like you would think that separatists would be like, they're all evil and like Dooku and Grievous. And you're like, nope, they're just homeworld. It's like a civil war basically. There's still people trying to live on both sides.
Well, that's exactly what it is. And this is honestly the most dense episode of the Clone Wars we've seen. You could talk a whole hour if you like really researched out some of these topics. Yeah, I mean, first all the banking stuff you were talking about, to get more money to pay for troops. Then Anakin says Anakin's very black and white and simplifies it to Ahsoka and says, well, the Separatists think the Empire's evil. The Empire's not evil. It's our job to show them it's not evil, basically by killing them, I think is what he implied. But then meanwhile, I mean, this is just a civil war. Like, it's not, it's not like these groups were on the same side before. It's not like this is some foreign empire that's here trying to take over. This was a group of nations and planets that did not agree with the Empire, so they broke away. Like and I think they go really heavy-handed, where and obviously we know it's the Confederacy of Independent Systems, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like when I think the CIS, I don't think like the Confederacy, like in the U.S. South. But here, like, they call it the Confederacy and stuff. Like I feel like they tried to draw parallels. Like, and I mean, in retrospect now, I think most people would not try to argue that, like, the Confederacy in the, United States Civil War was, like, justified in a lot of their aims, but there were a lot of people that were good people on both sides that were fighting for their home or whatever they believed in, Again, the Confederacy as a whole, I think, I don't know, I think more and more, like, the thinking is that it was about slavery, which was, I think, denied for a long time. And I'm sure people still think many different things. Again, it was about states' rights versus, slavery or whatever. But from what I understand, I think the thinking is that more that it was about slavery now. So obviously that's wrong. But again, I'm sure, out of the hundreds of thousands of people that fought in the Civil War, like, they weren't all monsters, on either side.
Yeah, there's definitely like a poor farmer that's like, wait, we're seceding from the union? That's not good. Half my crops go north. And then like 3 weeks later, there's like cannonballs going through his house. He's like, I didn't want this at all. I just want a summer that never ends.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah, that's it's like it's hard to when you see shit on news about any war, like the media just villainizes everyone, and then you really have to take a look, like a step back and look at it like, oh, 90% of these people are just like me, they want to take care of their family.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, a lot of the separatists. I mean, it's kind of weird to us to see battle droids as like the good protectors. Like there's just battle droids at the port here, just like our side. We have clones at the port, protecting things. I mean, it's been ingrained through 3 seasons now that the separatists are evil. I feel like they weren't referred to as like the Confederacy of Independent Systems very much, because I feel like the separatist sounds more evil. That was really driven home. You see the battle droids is just evil. Like anything robotic, basically, we've been shown as bad. And now here you see, I mean, that's not true. It's just a civil war. And honestly, I don't think, do we know at this point why the Civil War exists? I'm assuming it's a lot more benign of a reason, or a lot less controversial of a reason than, again, say like the American Civil War.
Well, this civil war between like in the galaxy is like, it was basically like the Dooku, not Dooku, sorry, Sidious pulling strings, like the Trade Federation, like blockaded Naboo, like, and then they they were tricked into it by Sidious. And if you watch the Phantom Menace, like, you see all the politics of it. Like, they never really want to be a war. Then it goes into the Clone Wars, and the clones show up, and they're like, now this is a war. Basically, the Separatists were trying to take over ports and shit like that, because they're literally money hungry grubs. The Nematodians, and they were tricked
Yeah,
into it by
Nemoidians, yeah.
Sidious. Yeah, Nemoidians are money hungry grubs, and they were easily like tricked into it. And the Trade Federation can have these giant droid armies, even though there was like peace in the universe, and you know, and I think like the existence of the clones being hidden from everyone, just threw a wrench in that. Like, it wasn't supposed to be this big of a war.
Yeah, I mean, this says the political turmoil bred by the separatist crisis rocked the Republic, with Chancellor Palpatine publicly claiming he hoped to find a diplomatic solution and avoid war with the Separatist alliance. Many in the Confederacy, including members of the Separatist Senate, also did not wish to fight, as they simply wanted to be free of what they saw as a corruption of the Republic. So, again, yeah, it's just people, like you said, it's people pulling strings in the background to make money, is essentially what it is. They say at one point during this, I think the Trade Federation guy said, we need fighting to feed the machine and our profits. And then, which is funny because in the Separatist Senate meeting, one of the senators said, unlike the Republic, corporations do not control us. But the difference is, it seems like corporations more openly control the Republic, which is, I think, sort of like how our country is, honestly. It's a really open secret, and like you know, and you sort of know who's controlling what. Versus in the CIS, it's more, seems like they're in the background a little bit, like pulling the strings.
It's all like, we know why Sidious, like, I guess, lit the match and then like see how it went. Like, we know why he did it, because he wants to get rid of the Jedi, and he figured, I guess he figured like a war, like a long war would, or like a quick war with droids and everything, the Jedi would like crumble under the pressure. So, and he could reveal himself as the Emperor. But then the clone that Sifo Dyas like ordered with the bounty hunter and everything, like, kind of added, you know, more to it. And now it's a long war, and now everybody figured they can make money. I don't. Yeah, it's very. It's. I don't know. Maybe they should They should write several books on it, and then we can read about it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, this is kind of interesting. So I think this paragraph like gives you a good picture of the origin. It says, for centuries, the Galactic Republic's lucrative trade with core world markets helped it inexorably pull non-member worlds into closer cooperation with the body politic. Senators, however, feared the addition of new member worlds would appropriate their own wealth to protect provincial territories far from the civilized cosmopolitan core worlds. As a result, states are often left waiting, some for centuries, to be admitted into the Republic, while those that were admitted found themselves largely ignored in the chaotic Senate chamber. Local power blocks soon emerged from neighboring systems in the galaxy's periphery, demanding greater representation and rights for their own respective sectors. So essentially, it was more like, I guess it's by that it's more like that the Empire was essentially colonizing the galaxy, not necessarily taking over these worlds, but controlling them politically and financially, and the people, I guess to use our world, like the people in London did not want their government spending their resources in conquered India to help people there, and then people there got pissed off and eventually rebelled. Is I guess sort of how this happened.
Also, Tatooine or Mustafar, if there's anyone actually on Mustafar, I mean, I know there's like 2 species there, but like, if the Republic comes in and, tries to take care, tax, they're not going to have the same amount of representation in the Galactic Senate as like Coruscant or Naboo, more populated, more powerful worlds.
Yeah, this is Count Dooku. Count Dooku with Tarkin during their final dinner together before the onset of the Clone Wars. I'm committed to the idea of a galaxy ruled by an enlightened leader with laws that apply universally, not one set for the core worlds and another for the outer rim worlds. An autocracy guided by the Count of Sereno. I am ambitious, but not to that degree. That's the Dooku and then Tarkin. But yeah, that's basically what it came down to. Was the only concern was money, and because of that, they disrespected the outer worlds. Oh man, I would be a separatist. Freak the Empire, man.
You'd be a separatist?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I want to read more about this, but I mean, from what they're saying here, I mean that kind of makes sense. Like, they basically were taking the resources and money from these outer rim worlds, but not giving them any. I mean, that's basically what we did in America, right? England was taxing us, but not giving us any say in our how we ruled things. And it seems like a similar thing here. These outer worlds weren't getting admitted into the Senate, or if they were getting ignored in the Senate. They had no real power, but they still had to contribute to the Empire.
Yeah. Also, like if you want to be a separatist, so far, like the separatists don't have a slave army other than robots. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Republic basically has a slave army.
No clothes, no child slaves. I mean, I guess the child slaves come later in the Republic and the First Order. I don't know. This is a good episode. It was real dense.
Because I do like politicking. It's great.
Yeah.
But
I like this.
That's all I really have to say about those episodes.
Same.
So, yeah. Well, sorry for the rant, guys. I hope you like this episode. Thanks for coming to listen to this week's Whole Week Costa. For Kev, I'm Jay. Check out Whole Week Costa, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, and our Libsyn page. And you can check us out. Kev makes videos on the YouTube. Thanks for listening.